Hey there, how's it going? This is Chris over at 3D Palace, and this is another tutorial. Bet you can't believe it. Okay, this is going to be 3ds Max, this is going to be Photoshop, and this is going to be Unreal Engine. Okay, I will be using the pause feature. Okay, so you can see my clock down in the bottom right hand corner. That's going to change a lot. If you hear people talking in the background, that's fine too. It's 6 PM here, so I'll be taking a break in about an hour anyway, but you won't notice. Now, what I need to do is build a kind of kiosk, kind of information-y thing for the end of a game sub-level. Okay, now I'm just going to put some floor in, and I'm not using any particular measurement for the floor, I just want a floor, and I'm going to make everything the same colour for the time being, so I'm going to turn off assign random colours. Okay, and that basically gives me just an area to work off, alright, so I know kind of what I'm building. Now the actual thing that I'm building itself, there's going to be like basically a 1 meter by 1 meter by maybe 5 centimeter platform, so that's where I'm starting. Okay, and that'll get me basically set up right. Now I'm going to use my move tool, hotkey W just in case you're wondering, and I'm going to center this to 0 and 0. Okay, that way it's in the middle. Now, because I know this is a meter, okay, that's going to make things a bit easier. And the pivot point is set at the bottom so that once I've moved it into the game engine and I move it, it'll be in the right place. And I'm going to hit F4. That gives me my edged faces. Now, if I'm doing anything too quick for you, don't worry, okay? You can always come back and do things again. Right click, and I'm going to convert this to an edgeable polygon. Polygon modeling, obviously, if you're not used to 3ds Max, is about the quickest and easiest way to get really good results fast. Lots of decent built-in polygon tools in Max. Okay, so now this is an editable poly, so that means obviously I can grab all the various polygons and make up this model and move them and do all sorts of fun things to them. Pardon me. Right, so I need to get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go down here, and I am going to do a connect just there. Now, I'm interested because my connect's over here, which means that you've got paint deformation and stuff on this side. I don't fully understand why. I think it lets you move these now, so I'm going to move it under here. I'll move my soft selection under here as well. It's a shame it's still keeping up there. Let's see if I can just adjust my screen a little bit. No, never mind. Okay, so I'm just going to do a connect. Okay, so now I've got a line running right down the middle, and to save on edges straight away and polygons, I'm just going to delete the underneath because we're not going to see it. Okay, now I'm going to do this again, but in a slightly different way. So to create some more polygons, I'm going to select that polygon here, which for me is at the back, and I'm going to inset it just a little bit like that. Okay, so it's kind of standing proud. There we are. Or right flush, or whatever you want to call it, not proud. Okay, now I want the entire thing to be about just under 2 meters tall, really. So I'm going to make myself a scale quickly. So I'm just going to drag this to just over 2 meters high. Okay, there we go. So set this to 200, and I'll set these each to 10 by 10. Okay, that way they're in the right height, and I know what I'm doing. And I'll delete this scene. Next, I am going to come down here and select this polygon, and I'm just going to drag it up until the top basically just crashes over that. So I'm going to extrude it first, and then drag this up. And the point where it does that, where I can see the outline and nothing else, that's the right bit. Okay, now I'm going to select this part and get rid of it, because I know this is now 2 meters high, 1 meter wide. Okay, so we now have a monolith from 2010 coming on, and I want to make this now into some cool shape. So I'm going to use my swift loop, and I'm just going to come down here, put a loop in just there. Okay, and now I can grab this from the back, and I'm just going to push that in there. So the idea is that obviously we have a base now, and this shape that we're getting here. Much more dynamic. I like it. It's actually from Changi Airport. Is that the correct pronunciation? Which is, hang on a second. Yep, Singapore. I can't pronounce Changi, I do apologise. Shanghai, something like that. Okay, and now I'm going to relax this back. This is a lovely design from their kiosks. So I'm kind of just taking the simple part here, which is this bit, and basically utilising it for myself. But what I'm going to do is modify it based on some things that I also need. Now, what I want to do here is I want to get this a little bit thinner, because I don't want it as wide as it is. It needs to be a little bit smaller. And the idea is that I want the player to come up to this and basically, well, player, user, whatever, I want them to come up to this, and when they stand on this bit here, okay, they're going to get the next part opened, and they're going to get, you know, basically some nice simple reward information of whatever kind. So it's pretty easy. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with that. It's a good shape, it's nice and simple. Now, at the back here, I'm going to bring these two little verts just down a little bit, because all I'm doing is just modelling it to my own wants, needs and desires. And I'll try and remember to put out a little kind of front side, top, bottom, so that you guys have a better view and an idea of how the model's going to work. Okay, so this is the very basic part, kind of done here. Now, I'm going to need to put some pipe work in. There's a couple of ways I can do that, but for me the easiest way is probably going to be just, rather than using a spline, just building something this way. So, using polygons. Now, okay, I'm giving it a name so I know what it is, and I'm going to give it a save, and I'm going to go down to my D drive here. Actually no, I'll go down to my F drive because that's where I put things, and in here I'm going to call this Kiosk Clinic Asset Development. Okay, so I'm developing two projects based on Kiosk Clinic, and this will be used for both of them. I'll call it WIP 1. That way I know where I am. Okay, and if something goes wrong, I can always come back to that now. I know there's an autosave, but don't always trust your autosaves. Now I'm going to make a cylinder, and for sides, I don't really want 12, and I certainly don't want 5 height segments. Okay, and I'm going to use auto grid, and that'll let me basically draw this on anywhere. And I'm just going to draw it on here, like this. Okay, now it's important that I'm able to extrude my edge. So to do that, I'm going to need to rotate this. So I'm going to press A. That'll turn on angle snap, probably at a 5-degree increment. Could be 10, can never remember. Hit rotate. Rotate it 15 degrees. Okay, so that way I'll be able to do this piece of editing. Now, this is a little bit wide, so I'm going to bring the radius down to maybe 4. See how that looks? Much better. And I'll have its height as 50. Okay, right click, convert to editable poly, same as we did before, and I'm going to just shave off the bottom polygons. So I'm just going to do a marquee select, make sure I've got them all, do a control and I, and hit delete. There, my bottom polygons are gone now. Okay, next, I want to make a copy of that polygon. So I'm just going to press move, hold shift and drag. Okay, and I'm going to clone it to an element. Now, I'll delete that in a minute, but I'm going to select this, and I'm going to hinge it from edge and use the settings. And here, where it says pick my hinge, I'm going to pick the top of this. 90 degrees. And then I'm going to increase my slider until it looks curved enough without sticking too many polygons in. Maybe 5. There we go. Click tick. Now I'm going to extrude it again. But I think before I do, I'm going to do a quick inset. Okay. Now I'm going to do an extrude. To about there. Okay, and now I'm going to do a bevel, a 0 length bevel, and I'm just going to basically bevel it, but I'm going to bring it right back so it's overlapping itself. You see what I'm doing there? And then I'll let go of the mouse button. When it does, I'll just bring it out a teeny bit. See that? I'm going to do this again. Just a teeny bit to about there. I'm going to delete that polygon. Okay, now if I come around here, grab this polygon, hold shift and move to there, clone it to an element. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to hinge from edge, and this time with my hinge I'm going to pick this one. Just click tick. Okay, that works for me, and I am going to move this by doing an insert, so I'll just repeat my last insert, and then an extrude. There we go. Now if I move this, and let's see if I can get the X to 0, there we go. Okay, so the good thing about that is with that X being at 0 now, I can hit delete and get rid of the end polygon, and I'm going to go up here to symmetry. So I just pressed S in the modifier panel, and mad. Okay, so the mirror axis is going to be, well, the mirror axes are all over the place today, aren't they? Okay, I'm going to delete that because it's obviously not going to want to work the way I want it to, and instead I'm going to duplicate it using the mirror tool. So where's the mirror? You always lose it somewhere. Mirror, there we go. I'm going to make a copy, click OK. And then I'm going to literally get them so they overlap. I almost always turn anti-aliasing off in 2ds Max, not to increase performance, but just because it's a lot easier for me to line up edges that way. It's quite an old way of doing things, and the sort of thing that most people don't approve of as a way of doing it, but I find it works quite well. Okay, now that will have reverse normals, so I'm going to select them all and flip. Oh no, its normals were okay, it turned out. Sometimes the reversing process does mad things. Now I'm going to attach this and this together, so I'll just press the attach button, and I'm going to get rid of that piece of polygon just there, and I'm going to make these a closed single mesh by selecting all of these and clicking weld. And you can see there that we have lost 12 vertices because I marquee select, and that means that if I select any one of these now, see it does that. Now the good thing about that is it means I can now double click on that edge, hold control and hit backspace. See? Now that's much better. Okay, now I'm a stickler for hard surface stuff, and this wouldn't just connect into here, it needs something to connect it into. So I'm going to grab that, and because I did it over there, I'll do the same over here. Now I should really have done this in, what do you call it, oh god, should really have done that in the mirror, but I didn't, so tough. Right, I'm going to grab this edge here and I'm going to do a ring whilst holding, well, I don't need to hold control. Okay, and I'm going to hold control and select polygon, and that'll select all of those, and then I'm going to hit extrude and change this to local normal, and then reduce the amount to something I think is acceptable, so maybe 2. Tick. Okay, that's cool. And now if I select all these edges here, I can just bring them down a little bit if I choose as well. There we go. And it looks a lot better. It doesn't just sit there. Okay, so we'll do it again. I'm going to click here, click ring, hold control, select polygon, and then if I press the extrude button, the extrude settings button, it'll remember the last one I did, and then if I go to edge just double click that and just bring it down a tiny bit. See, because we're working at a scale that's basically like 100 units is 1 meter, we're not getting any particular errors with this, so that's cool. Okay, so we've got this, which is basically to stop people knocking their legs into the bottom of it and scuffing it and making it look all messy. That's a good start. Now, I'm basically going to make kind of a little mat thing on this as well. So before I do, let's just attach these two parts together. So, attach you and you. There we are. Lovely simple design this. And I'm going to select there, there. And I'm going to use an inset. Just a little bit. Now I'm going to just extrude it down and in. Then I'm going to use a tiny inset like that. Then I'm going to extrude it up. And then I'm going to use a teeny bevel. Like that. Okay, so there we go. That's our hit F4. You can see now we've got this kind of outline. I could do that just as a material, but this way I don't have to make a complicated tessellated material, and that's going to help me when it comes to VR. Right, next I want a nice big area that's going to be our screen up here, so I'm going to hit F4 and go into my Swift loop, and that is going to be my eye level screen just there, and I am going to inset it to about that. Okay, that way I can put things on it. Then down here I'm going to do another Swift loop there and there. I'm going to bring one straight down the middle, which means I'm going to need to select by edge and do a ring and do a connect, and that will allow me to select this bit here and do an inset, and then this bit here and do an inset, and this bit here. Okay, so now we've got these parts inset, and I'm going to bring them in just a teeny bit too, so not a lot, but just a little bit, and that'll give us a little bit of an edge there. Okay, there we go. So now our information kiosk board is starting to look a bit better. Right. Now I do have a useful little tool I can use here that I've been kind of looking to have a go at for a while, so I'm going to see if I can use that. So I'm going to right click. If you don't have this, don't worry, it's just I'm going to be using it. I'm using Kit Bash Blender by John Martini, and let's see what we've got. See if there's anything in here that I might find useful. There's a lot of things in this that it comes with. See, I like that, but I don't have enough polygons in my actual thing unless I tessellate it a bit. Right, I've tessellated it a bit. Let's see what I can come up with. You see, a lot of these require a certain amount of edges, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 edges and stuff. It'll edit it for you, but I'd really like to get something. Right, here we are, 8 edges, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's not bad. I don't really need any buckles. That's got 16 edges, 4 edges, so that's just 1 square. I mean, some of these are going to be quite useful, so if I select this, and then that, and then hit preview, there you go, and then I can kind of scale it in a bit. So let's see, there's my scale, here it is. But it doesn't really look like it fits though, if you know what I mean. I'm just kind of having a doodle really. I've been wanting to use John Martini's stuff for a while now, and I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to work. See, that's just like a big chunky button for that one. I don't think on this kind of smooth tech it's going to work so well, but let's have a look at panels. 14 edges, 3 by 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 edges. So we've got a 10 edged one we can use. Sadly there aren't any 10 edged ones here. Let's have a look at how many this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 sides. See if we've got any 12s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, 12. Oh, there's one with an edge of 12. See how that fits. Doesn't really fit in with what I'm looking at, but I quite like it still. Commit. See, so if you commit it, it ends up looking like that. Now we have got some polygons that have been worked over at the edge there, you see. So that's kind of some of the problems you can get. But just hit F4, you can see the broken polygons there. I'm not going to use this, but I quite like it. So anyway, I'll just have a quick look at John Martini's tool for this. Just seeing if I could use it. Right, now I'm going to expand this out by having a second information arm that presents itself to the user. So if I'm looking at Joe Public being about what 1.8 meters high, so I'll get a biped, just draw this out, about 1.8. okay, so that's Joe Public there, and I'm going to turn them around. Yoink. Okay, so you're now looking at the machine. Keep locking it by mistake because I'm using the Unreal Engine translation tools rather than the 3ds Max translation tools, which is always a fun problem. Okay, let's have a look at that. That's our dude, or dudette, staring at the thing, all proper excited. Ooh, how do I use this? Same. Right, so that means I can get this now in front of them. So I'm going to start here for my next piece, and I am going to see it comes in fairly low, I'd say. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do an inset, and I am going to do an extrude, just a little one in, only a big one. Another inset and extrude out. That, and then a little extrude out like that. That gives me this lovely single polygon there. This is going to come forward and again, and then up like that. Okay, now I am going to just do some polygon shoving about. So I'm just going to grab this, just bring it down. That gives us this nice angle here. Now I want to extrude this next polygon by local normal, as you can see. That'll give me that shape. Tick. Now I can see, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to extrude it out to about there, so not too big. Okay. And I'm going to put in a swift loop just here, make sure it's in the right area, like so. And this is where there's basically going to be another sub screen, so just set it in a little bit and then extrude it down like that. And now I'm going to put some swift loops in because I need a couple of areas that I can work from. Okay, and I need a slot of some kind. Now again, I'm going to have a quick look and just see if there's anything on here that might be useful. I haven't really got around to adding new things to Kitbash Blender, so I just want to see if I can find a useful panel I can use or something like that. Could be an anchor. Let's have a look. I mean, something like that, basically. I like the shape of that, actually, so I'm probably going to use that. Okay, so over here, do an inset. And then I'm going to do an extrude in. And then I'm going to take these two edges here and here. But be careful now when you select, because obviously there's a lot of stuff behind it. And I'm just going to change the angle to about that. Okay, now I'm going to select here and here. So I'll do this one first, insert. Then this one I'm going to copy. Okay, and now with these two, I'm going to do a quick scale. And I'm going to scale them on the local normal. Okay, that way they'll scale in the right direction. And I'll change this back to view again. I'm going to extrude these in. Okay, so now we've got these two nice little slots. Don't know what they do, but we don't need to know what they do, and that's the cool thing. Okay, and then here, where we've got this, I'm just going to do a quick inset all at once of those. There we go. Okay, and this is going to help me when it comes to basically making this thing look nice and clean the way I want it. Because obviously a lot of my focus is going to be on, you know, the textures and trying to make this look interesting. A bit like it's got like some sort of a funky kind of design going on. I'm also going to be using, what do you call it, lights, self-illumination in the material. So, you know, I'm going to want that to look okay as well. Okay, now, some of the areas where this is, you know, if I go to my polygon counter, there we go, we've got 7,000 total, but that includes the dude, or chick, or lady, sorry. So, I am going to the female character, or male character. It is yet unsexed. I am going to go to Swift Loop. Okay, and now I'm going to grab that edge and ring it. Control select by, and use an extrude, a local normal. Don't bring it in too far, it's going to look silly just a little bit. Okay, so we separate the two parts, tick. Now, do that again here. So again, a swift loop, one there, one there. And then basically you see all we have to do is rely on good old lighting and stuff with the material, and it's going to look like it's basically held together, you know, in a kind of slot together arrangement. That's the way they make them. They make them where it's all these panels that cover up parts so they don't get damaged, which is a good idea, and so that people can't get into them, which is an even better idea. Because the last thing you want is bored people at airports and stuff just dicking around with your computer systems. Okay, ring, control select, extrude, and I'm just keeping the same settings every time. Okay, so again, I don't know if I can do multiple at the same time. It's been a while. I might as well find out. Okay, ring, control select. Let's see what happens, shall we? Yeah, if you look, that is okay. That is okay. Just make sure we've got no weird polygon stuff going on here, but that seems cool. And I mean, I can draw on any little bolts or things that I need, to be quite honest, when it comes to the unwrapping of this model. Okay, so I'm pretty pleased with that. There's plenty of room to put things on it. And yeah, I think, just having a quick look, seeing if it stays within the 1 meter by 1 meter, and it does. I think that's going to be fine. I'm just going to bring this in maybe a little bit more. There we go. Just a teeny bit, doesn't need to be much. Because this screen's basically going to contain nonsense, important information here and here. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Okay. Right, I'm going to delete my little friend. Do a quick zoom here, and I'm going to make sure that everything is basically one object, which it is. Kiosk info goal. Cool. So I'm going to save this now. I'm going to call it whip2. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to do a quick unwrap, so if you want to watch that, you know what to do.